He pops this one up. On the infield, we'll see who takes it. The shortstop coming in, and then is to make the catch and end the ball game. So a postseason bid will have to wait another day for the Boston Red Sox as Toronto takes this one 6-1. Sox win the series, heading back home to face the Tigers on Friday.
Still a really good road trip. You went 4-2. You won a couple series, but as we've seen lately, both series opportunity to sweep, unable to do it. You still return to Fenway Park, 3 games to go. That magic number is 1. Just a win or a loss by Astros, and you are playing postseason baseball. A very good trip for this team.
Be pretty sweet to clinch at home, too.
All right, there you go. The final call the other night in Toronto. Red Sox lose to the Blue Jays. Now come home needing just one victory or a Houston loss to reach the postseason. That's where we start tonight on the Baseball Hour. And look, I've chastised you this week. I've argued both for and against the Red Sox at various points this year. At the end of the day, we all don't want the same thing, and that is postseason baseball. Matt McCarthy's here. Tyler Milliken is here. We'll take your phone calls, and we'll take it right up till 7 o'clock heading into tonight's game over at Fenway Park. And let me just say, if you want to bitch about the fact that you're not going to be able to watch this game tonight if you don't have Apple TV or Apple TV Plus, Apple Plus, whatever it's called, by all means, we're here to listen because I think everyone shares your sentiment. 617-779-0985. Before I get to both of these guys and what their specific thoughts are, let me ask everyone a very simple, basic, big picture question that we did not really dwell on today on the Baseball Hour, but I would kind of like to bring up because it's the elephant in the room. And I said this last night, so it's not revisionist history. But am I crazy to think that this isn't over yet? Thank you, Jimmy Stewart. Am I the only one who feels this? I said before last night's game, Jimmy Stewart, I said before last night's game, I really don't want a situation where the Red Sox have to come home, face the Tigers, who basically need to win out. The Red Sox in the same breath hadn't clinched yet. I don't want this to be a situation where they have to take the field Friday night knowing that if they lose, and the Tigers, meanwhile, knowing that if they lose, like if the Tigers know they lose, you got a desperate team on the other side is what I'm getting at. Tarek Skubal is waiting there in the background on Sunday. And on the next 2 nights, you have rookies pitching. In the case of the first game, making his second start for the Red Sox, that is Kyle Harrison. And the other one is Connolly Early, who's going to be pitching tomorrow if the game matters, and I presume he's pitching either way. But Connolly Early, who kind of looked a little, dare I say, shaken in the first inning against the Blue Jays the other night. So is it wrong for me to say, everybody slow down, you still have a game to win?
No, not at all. It's not wrong.
I feel like people are sort of jumping to the Red Sox are going to clinch tonight at home. And even in that cut that we played from Dave O'Brien and Lou Merloni, well, though, it'd be nice to see them win at home, or that'd be nice, or however he phrased it. And as if it's some sort of foregone conclusion, you still have to win the game. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. I mean, am I a little uncomfortable going into the weekend? Yes. Do I think they're going to manage to win one game this weekend? I do, because Detroit is playing terrible baseball right now. Now, they need it, but you still need it too, so I think the Red Sox come away with a win. You also need Houston. If they just lose one game, you're in too. So, I mean, will I be truly comfortable until it happens? No, but am I panicking? Am I worrying, Maz? Not yet. Talk to me tomorrow. If Houston wins tonight, the Red Sox lose tonight, maybe I'll start to worry with Skubal in the background for Sunday.
Okay, but let me stop you there, Milliken, before you answer, too. What he just said, ask me again tomorrow. Doesn't that by definition mean that tonight is important?
You can feel it catch up to you quickly. Because if the Astros don't lose, then it's 2 games and you're continuing to play this thing out. Now, Fangraphs has them at 98.7% chance to make the playoffs. Do I feel that confident? No. It did shake me a little bit that Trevor Story, even after yesterday's game, is telling everyone, well, it'd be cooler to celebrate at home. I'm like, all right, let's hold up on that. Don't tell me it's cooler to go celebrate at home. Get the job done. And I think you even saw in Alex Core's post-game media session yesterday. Very short. This was not a, it's going to happen. It's not something we're too worried about. I think they know there is some danger of going out there with Connolly early, with Kyle Harrison, and seeing what those guys look like at the very end of the season. But with the Tigers looking the way they do, you're 6-15 in the month of September. That's how bad the Tigers have been at this point. It's not just, they're playing below 500 ball. No, they are absolutely collapsing, and they look like garbage right now.
Okay, stop there again for a second.
Go ahead. And the Astros are 10-12 in September, too, so expecting them to sweep is another thing as well.
Okay, how did the Tigers look last night?
Better.
Okay. And who are the Astros playing?
The Angels.
Who suck.
Yeah, not a good baseball team.
Okay, now proceed.
Yeah, I would continue to go and kind of look at this series here, too, and what you're facing tonight in Casey Mize. It shouldn't be anything that scares you. He's had a horrendous second half, been a bit better in the month of September, but a guy who's been coming off a lot of injuries the last couple of years and hasn't pitched a ton. It feels like the kind of team you should be able to jump on. Now, you want to go out there and you want to get scary and you want to be doubtful? The Red Sox, their last 15 games at Fenway, 5-10. The Red Sox, best road record in all of baseball since July 23rd. So as much as we hyped up this whole Fenway Park thing the entire summer and how they're a different team there, they haven't been a different team there recently. So you get to Fenway Park tonight, is it going to be something that looks like that game where Peyton Tolley went out there and, whoa, Fenway's rocking, but you don't actually end up winning the game? Maybe. I just think, like most people, it's much more likely than it is not. Is there a chance where everything goes wrong and it blows up in your face? Sure. That hasn't been the identity of this Red Sox team this year.
So, Maz, this is how I would best summarize it. And it's really the way I felt about the Red Sox since the Roman Anthony injury. Do I feel a little uneasy about this? Yeah, of course I do. Do I think they're going to get the job done and get there? Yes. They need one more game, whether it's a win for them, a loss for the Astros. Is it going to be a bumpy ride to get there? Probably. It will, because this team has flaws. But as you've said all week, as we've said all year long, the Red Sox have just as many flaws as everybody else in the rest of the competition. Their magic number is 1. A little uneasy, yeah, but I'm overall fine with it. They'll make it. I think so.
Well, so let me tell you what my problem is when you get to this stretch, okay, is that I think, and we all do it, but I think fans make the mistake and looking at it as a big picture scenario, and it's not. Because the regular season, by definition, is a big picture scenario. So they look at it and say, well, all you got to do is win one of the 3. It's like you're going on a weekend series to Tampa Bay in June, and you say, you really only need one game this weekend. They'll get 1 out of 3. They'll win one of those because Tampa Bay's not playing with any urgency in June, and just the nature of the game is such that everybody wins 1 out of 3. I mean, that's just the nature of the sport. You almost always win 1 out of 3. Sports or sweeps are rare. Well, not necessarily when you get to the important games. So people say the Red Sox went 11-3 in the postseason in 2018. You know why? Because they were really good and they were locked in and they didn't treat any of the games as a throwaway. And when they were motivated, they were that much better than everybody else.
They were a veteran club, too.
Okay, so my point being, when you get to the point where you have to win every game and you're living day to day, it's much easier to win 3 in a row or lose 3 in a row. Because your level of focus is higher and your level of desperation is worse. So, and you just said it a second ago, and this is the mistake people make. It's like compounding interest. If you lose the first night, the second game gets tougher to win. And then if you lose the second game, now you show up on Sunday and your ass is tight.
Right. You got Scooble going for the Tigers. I get it. I understand it.
So, and you have to play tomorrow with the specter of Scooble pitching on Sunday. So now you're saying, well, if they have Scooble going on Sunday, you really got to win one of the first 2.
Which they're TBD tomorrow, the Tigers, right now. To be fair, the Blue Jays shoved it up your behind, and they just went through a bullpen game. But that is another thing that you're kind of balancing in this whole thing.
So people look at it, though, Milliken, and they say...
I get what you're saying.
Okay,
I do.
People look at it and say, well, what are the chances of the Astros winning 3 in a row? Well, I don't know. I mean, against the Angels, maybe decent. But if they win tonight and you lose, now it's 2. And now all of a sudden you're saying, wait a minute, are they going to blow this? So I'm just telling you, better to win now and get it done with, which puts emphasis and urgency on tonight's game. Here's the other thing that I think is important. And again, you tell me if I'm an idiot. Wouldn't it be beneficial to get your bullpen and everything in order completely and not need to pitch people you don't want to pitch on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe give Alex Bregman a day off if he needs a day off?
Trevor Story, who admitted after the game he was tired, and he's basically gotten the Jaron Duran treatment from Alex Cora this year. Trevor Story's telling you he's feeling it because he hasn't played 100 games since 2021. That's a crazy thing to think about. I think it was 94, his first season here, right? And you want to talk about the Astros right now? Last time they swept a series, September 15th to the 17th against the Rangers. So while this month hasn't been great for them overall, you only have to go back, 9 days to see the last time they beat up on a team that's not making the playoffs. And the Angels have been even worse than that in the month of September. They're 7-16.
So this is a human problem, and we all do it. Okay, we all do it. You get near the end of something and you say, well, this is basically done. It's over. And let me just, finish up the final steps and then we're out of here. And we do it in sports. And you're not there yet. You got to finish the job. It's like getting to the ninth inning with a big lead and you bring in some scrub instead of Aroldis Chapman, and then all of a sudden the next thing you know, you got to get Chapman up in the bullpen because you took your eye off the ball, and Zach Kelly's on the mound giving up a grand slam.
So you're worried the Red Sox are going to Isaiah Campbell this weekend?
Something like that.
It's also something where you realize this is a spot these guys have never done it before. There's a few that did it for other teams, and an Alex Bregman. Garrett Whitlock's the only one from 21. Jaron Duran had a cameo that season. But when have they actually had to go and finish a season to make the playoffs?
Right.
You're asking guys who haven't done something before to do something. And to their credit, they've answered the bell again and again when their back's been against the wall this year. But this is the final test. This is the biggest test because none of that other stuff matters if you can't get the job done the next 3 days or just tonight.
McCarthy, if they had a magic number of 1 with 8 or 9 days left in the season, I would say no problem. It's one series. It's one series. And the team you're playing is also fighting for the postseason. So it's not as if you have some lamb in here that is packing up their bags, ready to go home, doesn't want to continue. And I don't know, maybe that makes the Tigers more vulnerable because they're in the middle of a collapse. Although, again, they did win last night. So I just think slow down a little. That's all. You still have to play. And I was saying this about, in the positive sense, earlier in the week, that people were saying, well, why even make the playoffs? Because the Red Sox said, they're probably not going to win anyway. Well, the other team still has to play the games. And the Yankees were letting fly balls drop between their outfielders the other night. And Skubal was shotgun snapping balls into the outfield in a 3-run rally by the Guardians the other night where Cleveland didn't hit a single ball out of the infield. And all kinds of crap can happen in the big spots. You got to play it out. That means winning tonight. Now, what happens beyond that, if it goes the way we all think it will or hope it will, and the way it should go, which how many times have we said that, and it didn't necessarily break the way we thought it was going to break? Okay, we can certainly get to some of the other stuff. The first of which concerns a major question about someone on the Red Sox that Jared Carabas addressed quickly last night and that should make your eyes pop out of your head if they're not already. And I don't know, maybe it's not as new as I think it is. We'll get to that. We'll also get to specific things that I know you guys want to address, and we'll also get to your calls tonight on the Baseball Hour. It's a big weekend at Fenway Park.
This is the Baseball Hour on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Maz for Boston Solar, and this week's Bright Spot, powered by Boston Solar, comes from Wednesday night. Garrett Crochet powered his way through 8 scoreless innings and a dominant performance to lead the Red Sox to a 7-1 victory and gave him 18 victories on the season. Jared Karabas actually gave a two-minute answer to that question. I chopped it at about 10 seconds.
Yeah, but you don't really need that. He gave you the answer right at the start. He doesn't think he's going to play, so there you go. Why carry on? The three of us are here, Maz. We don't need Karabas to say anything more, right?
Okay, so, well, that's true. I mean, and again, now he went on to say all kinds of things explaining how they got to that point. I want to get to the callers here quickly, but let me just ask you this question. If we knew for sure that Roman Anthony wasn't going to play the entire postseason, would it change your mindset going into the playoffs?
In what sense?
I'm asking just in general.
Yeah, and how far this team can go. If he's not part of it, I don't believe they'll advance past the ALDS.
See,
Okay.
I don't think he is going to play. I've been pretty convinced of that for quite some time, so it's not like anything now would change my mindset. I don't believe you'll see him in October. Really, kind of no matter how far they get. I mean, he's 21 years old. They're going to prioritize the future, and it doesn't feel like that was a good injury.
Okay, but that's not necessarily the kind of injury that would worry you in terms of, I mean, he might aggravate it, and then he can't play again, but is it any sort of problematic career injury?
I just know how careful they are with those guys. I mean, Roman Anthony is the future, so I don't think they want to rush him back.
I don't know if you guys saw today. Cora was asked about Marcelo Meyer, who's resumed baseball activities post-surgery, taking dry swings, would not say he's done for the year. So the fact that he's already resuming baseball activities, what is he going to provide to you at this point in time, I think is a very fair question. But I think with Roman, the problem is here. Wilyer Abreu, that entire month he missed, was on the trajectory machine. He was hitting. Roman Anthony has not been able to do any of that. He can't see any pitching because he can't swing a bat. So what is the buildup? Not only once he's comfortable enough to do it, as we've seen, getting on the treadmill and the bicycle is the best thing he has going on. He's going to need time to actually swing before you even hope. Can he do something at the plate, or can he go play the outfield? Or are you just going to DH him? Which becomes another thing when you look at Masataka Yoshida, and he's finally hitting.
Oh, please forget Yoshida.
No, right now, though, you're talking about guys that are hitting and getting hot. Is he going to be one of the hot bats that you try to ride once you get into the playoffs here? You're going to start bobbling and trying to do a lot of different things here.
Milliken, you don't think they can get through the DS without Roman Anthony?
No, I don't. I don't think their offense will
Even
be
if
good
it's New York or Toronto?
Yes, I don't. I think Toronto would make me feel a little bit more confident with no Chris Bassett, no Bo Bichette. They've been a bottom 10 offense without Bo Bichette. But I think this offense is going to be too streaky. And I think we've seen over the last 10 days or so, thankfully, Ceddanne Rafaela getting going, Yoshida, Nathaniel Lowe doing something has been helpful. Those are guys I just don't believe in once you get to October.
Oh, see, I think they can win the next 2 rounds without him.
Yeah, I'm not super confident in the ALDS. I think they can get through the wild card round, though.
Yeah, they're built for the wild card
short
round.
series.
Yeah, I like them no matter who they play in the 3-game series. I don't like them in the 5-game series after that. Put it this way, do I think it's crazy that they could win the DS? No. I'm not going to bet it, though. I'm going to bet them to win the wild card round no matter who it's against. I don't like them with their pitching not set up for the DS because this team will go as far as Garrett Crochet carries them. If you don't get him twice in one series, you're probably done.
Yeah, if it's New York and Toronto, you can beat both those teams because there are no great shakes either. And that's been my belief from the beginning. Mike in Baltimore on the playoffs. Go ahead, Mike.
Maserati, thank you for taking the call. Outstanding take today when you mentioned Seattle was the most complete team coming into these playoffs. And what people don't realize is the Milwaukee Brewers were born in '69 as the Seattle Pilots. It would be an excellent story if those two teams met in the World Series. I'm going to leave your question, Matt. I'm going to leave your question to your panel.
Just go quick.
Nobody watches more baseball than me. Nobody. Will Milwaukee hit enough in the postseason to win?
No.
And that's always been my...
No, I'm going to let you go just because we got a lot of people on the line, Mike. No, this is the issue with the Brewers. They don't have any, star talent. And look, I would love to see Milwaukee win from a pure baseball perspective. MLB, the Seattle-Milwaukee matchup, MLB would hate it like poison. Nobody would watch that World Series. And again, now you can say that Seattle will watch it, Milwaukee. Nobody in the country cares about the freaking Brewers other than Felger. Okay, now again, I like the way the Brewers play, but if they make the World Series, major loss. That's the worst case scenario for MLB because look at the teams in the National League. Mets, Dodgers, Phillies,
Cubs.
big market, star power. Like, there's all kinds of great stuff there.
Even the Padres. You get the Padres in there, please.
I bet the Padres.
I think Padres-Mariners, that's my World Series pick.
I think the Padres are a great team to watch because of the star power on that team.
Bullpen
Tatis,
that's built for the playoffs.
Machado. They get some good front-end pitching.
Mason Miller at the back end of that bullpen. Second lowest ERA of any reliever in baseball. Who's number one since the beginning of July? Garrett Whitlock, Mason Miller.
I mean,
throwing 103, 104. Are you kidding me?
I thought the Padres were fun to watch last year.
They are.
Mason and Buffalo. Mason, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Tony? So I wanted to talk about, my favorite team, the Toronto Blue Jays, what's going on right now.
Yeah, just get to it, Mason. That's all. We get a lot of people on the line tonight. Go ahead.
All right, sorry. But, I feel kind of confident. I don't want to say anything, though, the next 3 games, the Blue Jays. I will say is they have to win all 3 of those to get in unless New York screws up against Baltimore. That's all I have to say. Go Jays.
Okay, so look, they're already in. The Jays are in. Yep. Jays and the Yankees are both in. It's just a question of who wins the division. Toronto has the tiebreaker, so right now they're in the first place team. Do the Blue Jays scare you, Matt?
No, they don't, because I don't know who their number 2 starter is at this point.
And neither do they.
Yeah, so no, they do not.
Okay, so I'll ask you the same question. Who's the number 2 starter here?
Yeah, right now I'd go Giolito.
Over Bayo?
On an extra day's rest, I hope Giolito's better because I think Giolito's a little bit more of a gamer. I trust him a little bit more. Now, again, do I feel great about
Bayo
it?
not even being sharp yesterday was at least able to pitch into the 6th inning.
Yeah.
I'm watching Lucas Giolito attempt to go 5. The guy has sweat through his jersey so badly. And I'll add this. His velocity, you're talking starting pitchers wearing down. 2nd start in a row where it was down over a full mile per hour. I think that means a lot for a guy like Lucas Giolito. Fastball changeup, you lose a tick on that fastball. All of a sudden, the entire arsenal doesn't play as well. You go beyond it. 4 of his last 9 starts overall, at least 4 walks. That is a recipe for disaster in the playoffs.
Real quick, it's a strategy thing for me. If Giolito doesn't pitch Sunday, I'm starting him in Game 2, and I have Bayo available out of the bullpen for an inning in Game 1 because he has more in the tank left than Giolito. I also think Giolito's a competitor, and I think Game 2 is kind of a bullpen game for the Red Sox anyway, coming off of Garrett Crochet. That's why he's my Game 2 starter.
So, and this is another reason to wrap it up
as
soon as you can, because then you can pull back Giolito. You don't want Giolito to pitch on Sunday either. You're going to need him in Game 2 or Game 3. Take your pick, however you want to slice it up. Game 3 would be on Thursday, correct?
Yes.
So now you're talking 3 days of rest. He wouldn't be able to pitch.
No.
So then you got to go with Early or you got to go with Kyle Harrison. One of those guys has to pitch Game 3 instead of Giolito. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. But the point is the Red Sox ideally want to pitch Crochet, Bayo, and Giolito in the 3 games. Chris in Worcester. Chris, what do you got?
Hey, what's up, boys? Real quick. So this champagne popping after clinching the playoffs drives me effing bananas. Here's my question. Red Sox lose tonight. Houston loses tonight at 1 a.m. when everybody's gone from the clubhouse. Sox show up tomorrow and lose again. Are they popping champagne bottles after clinching because Houston lost, or is Cora going to grab everybody by the nuts and say, you don't get to pop champagne unless you win one of these 3 games?
No, it won't be Cora's decision. When they're in, they're in. So the only thing I'll tell you is, do you guys remember in, what year was that? Jimmy, was it 2016 or 2017 New York where they lost? The Red Sox, it was a walk-off loss, in fact, against the Yankees.
Right, they went back into the clubhouse.
And then the team they were competing with also lost, and they popped champagne and celebrated.
Yep, they could be doing this at midnight.
Okay, so that could absolutely happen. It was a really awkward, forced type of celebration.
And didn't Farrell have to yell at him like, hey, you guys won something,
right,
you got to celebrate now?
Yeah, it was something like that. In fact, he made them celebrate, I think, what it was. Plus, there were all types of sponsorships and everything else that go with that bull crap. And I don't think it was 2018 because that team dominated.
They clinched September 11th, I believe.
Yeah, they.
I posted the video of that today. You want to talk about a team? They didn't give a damn that they clinched the playoff spot because they knew it wasn't about 16 and 17 you got in. No one gave a damn at that point about the playoffs anymore. I think for this young team and where you are right now, it means more to them, so they're going to treat it like a heavier thing.
And not only that, in 2018, Cora was the manager.
Yes.
It was Farrell so it was one of those final years with Farrell.
I'm sure
2016.
No doubt. I'm sure this will be a discussion this weekend. I would encourage them to celebrate. It's a young team. They need to get a taste of winning, even if they technically back in because another team lost. It's
so
a
if they
long
lose
season.
tonight, Matt,
Yep.
and Houston ends up losing, you bring them back out onto the field to celebrate at 12:30 a.m. just so Nessing can run in and get the sponsorships
Jimmy,
in?
you know it's baseball. It's a long season. These guys have never been there before. I'm not going to have a problem with it. I know a lot of us will have a problem with it. I won't. It's a long season. You pop champagne when you make the playoffs in baseball. It's just
Most of them will be toes up because they have a game tomorrow.
In that case, I hope that the Astros score 6 runs in the first inning and pour water all over that, and everybody goes home, and the Red Sox actually have to play their way in. Matt McCarthy has your headlines. Got it right.
Oh, only took you the full year, Maz. Good for you.
Matt McCarthy has your headlines when we come back. Another development with the Red Sox beyond Roman Anthony and the pitching staff that should have you looking at them asking questions about, is this going to bite them in the ass if it hasn't already? We'll tell you what that is when we come back.
Sports Hub headline.
Trevor does not make a good throw, and Vladdy's going to be safe at first.
7th error this month. He gets to it fine. He just sets up and just doesn't get on top of this ball. Because of that, it just runs down that line. Vladdy does a nice job avoiding the tag and getting that hand in there.
Okay, let's not overlook this one. Trevor Story's defense. I didn't realize until I heard Lou Merlone say it. 7 errors this month. Do the math.
Maz, 7 in the last 6 games.
Okay, 7. Okay, so 7 in a week.
That's crazy.
So do the math. Like, first of all, 7 in a month would be over 40 in a full season. Okay, so you're talking 42 errors by a shortstop is an astronomical number to begin with. But if you want to do it by the week, we're talking about 160 errors in a season. He's basically made 1 a game on average for the last week. And Jimmy Stewart, where did he go?
He just stepped out.
Who told you so? Who told you to watch out after Story made an error? Was that last Sunday?
Yeah, I'll tip my cap. I just told Maz off the air last Friday. I was like, yeah, I'm not really panicking. I think he's going through it a little bit. Then I go home 10 minutes after I sit down. He throws the ball away for the second time that night.
When I saw it Sunday night, I said, watch out. Something's wrong there because he threw differently and it didn't look right. And sure enough, it has been a chain reaction. So now it's in his head. And the last thing they can afford is errors from a guy who doesn't make them all that often, or certainly not this often, because they got plenty of guys who already do. So stupidity could cost them. And I asked Jared this question last night. Let me ask each of you guys, then we'll get back to the calls. If and when they lose, and I'm talking about in the postseason now, will you be frustrated? Or do you feel like, no, they got where they were supposed to, it's okay?
So it's a hard question to answer because how do they lose, right? Are they losing because they make a bunch of errors in the field? Yeah, then I'll be pissed. Do they lose to Cleveland in the LCS? Yeah, I'll be pissed. If you get to the ALCS, though, and in the end you can't hit, like, am I really going to be that upset for a team that doesn't have Roman Anthony? I mean, I'll probably point to the Devers thing.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That I'd be the first one crying about it and telling you if you didn't trade him, you would have won the World Series.
I mean, listen,
or made the World Series.
In the end, Maz, in the end, because I know we have to have a take on this, and you're doing this in a vacuum, the answer is probably no, because making the playoffs is the goal for this team. I thought they were an 88-win team coming into the year. It looks like they'll probably win 88 games and get into the playoffs. So in the grand scheme of things, they have accomplished what I wanted them to accomplish if they get into the playoffs. But that being said, I'm not going to come in here if they make 7 errors in the ALDS and that's why they lose. Like, of course I'll be pissed. So that's the best answer I can give you right now.
Milligan?
Yeah, I do agree how you lose is going to kind of impact this entire thing, whether it's defense. Even if you kind of run out of bullets with the pitching staff, I'm going to be a bit angry because I saw what you did at the trade deadline, and there was a pathway, and we all knew at the time what they needed. Craig Breslow knew at the time what they needed, and he was not able to get that deal done. I can also recognize at the same time, though, they've gone through a lot of injuries this year. No matter how you want to kind of frame it or put it, there's been failures with the Rafael Devers trade, but to lose Tanner Houck, Cutter Crawford, Hunter Dobbins, even Cooper Criswell at this point, you can continue to go down and down that list. Tristan Casas, taking him out of that lineup. For them to be at this point in time after you lost Roman and Marcelo, it does surprise me because I didn't think they were going to be able to survive a lot of this stuff in the second half, and they have. But I would put that, say you get knocked out in the wild card round or whatever, I think it's a B- season or a C+, and I'll always sit there and say, with a couple different moves, maybe with a more experienced CBO, there was a real chance for you to run the AL.
So look, if they run into Seattle and they get shut down and lose because Seattle's pitching is tremendous, fine. No problem. I can live with that. Seattle, I think, is the best team in the league, and Seattle's got good pitching. And isn't Wu hurt?
He dealt with something, but he's okay.
Okay, but even so, Seattle's got good arms. Well, we all know that. And they added at the deadline. They're going for it. Like, the thing I would rely, if you play Seattle, your best chance might be that they kind of choke because they've never won, and maybe there's some baggage in that uniform. But even so, I could live with that. If they fundamentally break down because they can't hack it, not good. So that, to me, I will not forgive them for. And it's a problem they have to fix. They have been unsound for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. And that just can't continue. That's got to get fixed. Either way, Dean in Shrewsbury. Dean, what do you got?
I don't think it's so wild that the Red Sox could win the World Series. They got a top ace. If you look at ERA by second pitchers, Brian Bayo has the best ERA for a second pitcher in the game, and he's playing in the second most friendly ballpark to hitters. So I wouldn't put Giolito in front of him. If you look at their fielding, independent pitching, Brian Bayo's much better than Giolito, and his ERA shows he's much better. What did you say?
They're almost identical.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble.
0.2. They're essentially the same. I think they're both guys that have overperformed quite a bit.
I let Dean go. Do me a favor, will you? Since he brought it up, what are Bayo's home road splits? Just out of curiosity. I'm wondering, and I'm interested in batting average and, OPS too. George and Malden. George, what do you got?
Hi. If the Astros win the next two games and the Red Sox lose the next two games.
Yep, we're diapers.
And we go into the Sunday and Ippolito goes 5 innings. Tell me who you can trust in that bullpen to go 3 or 4 innings to win that game.
I have the answer for you. It's Garrett Crochet on short rest because you got to get to the playoffs.
No. I'll go Justin Slayton, Garrett Whitlock, and Aroldis Chapman and take my chances.
No, you got to get there.
If you throw Garrett Crochet in that game, it's over for you anyway. It's not even. You get into the wild card round, you can hope for the best. You're not winning that without Garrett Crochet starting one of those games on full rest.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm going to trust what's been a top 3 bullpen in the entire sport this year. Justin Slayton, what he did in the first game against Toronto, he looks like the Justin Slayton of old. Garrett Whitlock has been the most valuable reliever in baseball since the beginning of July.
So listen, I like Whitlock and Chapman too. And if you like Slayton, he's been better of late. Let me ask you both the same question: who's the fourth guy?
In the bullpen?
Yeah, if you need one more reliever, who's the guy?
Yeah, you don't have one.
You're picking between Greg Weissert and Justin Wilson. Say you go 5 innings, you got to pick. But you know what? Genuinely, you know what I would do? I'd tell Whitlock to go throw 2. That's what I would do.
Okay, but I didn't ask you that. I said, who's your fourth best guy?
Well, I'm going to get 2 innings.
Okay, but let me just say you need another guy. Who's the guy?
It's going to be one of those 2.
No, you know what it is? It's Bayo on his side day. It's Giolito on his side day. It's Crochet on his side day. That's what that is.
Okay, that's fair. John in Roxbury. John, go ahead.
Okay, so Cleveland, Toronto, New York, Seattle, Houston. We got Detroit. How am I supposed to look at this whole weekend and who do I want to come out on top on the bottom?
Okay, so look, New York and Toronto are already in. Those teams are already in. So take those 2 out. Okay, they're already in the playoffs.
Blue Jays have the tiebreaker right now over the Yankees.
But either way, they're both in. They're going to get in. Both of those teams are in the playoffs. So your next question is Detroit and Cleveland. One of those teams is going to make it guaranteed. Whoever wins that division is in. Okay, right now it is Cleveland's in front because they have the head-to-head. Okay, so if Cleveland wins out, they're in.
It's also, when you start to do the math here, you lose 2 out of 3, the Tigers jump you for the second wild card, and all of a sudden you're going to Cleveland.
Okay, so
as long as Cleveland handles business against Texas.
Yeah, now the rest of it, I would tell the caller, I can't give you the answers yet because it gets too convoluted. But what you need to know is there's a couple of spots available there after that. And because if those 2 teams get it, Toronto and New York are already in, and there's going to be someone from the Central. So that's 3. Seattle's the 4th. There were 2 spots left for the Red Sox, the Astros, and either Detroit or Cleveland. Okay, that's all you need to know.
Real quick, who do you guys want to play? Who's your preferred matchup? Because I kind of took the question that way.
I want to stay in the division. So I want the Yankees and Toronto in the first 2 rounds.
I want Toronto because I don't know who their number 2 starter is.
No Chris Bassett, no Bo Bichette. Since the Bo Bichette injury, they've been a bottom 5 offense in the entire sport. I think that is a massive deal for them right now. And Garrett Crochet, comparing to the Yankees, Crochet has a 1.31 ERA in 3 starts against the Blue Jays this season. I think that means something. Max Fried, 1.96 ERA in 3 starts against the Red Sox. So we're talking Crochet has went and shoved against the Blue Jays this year. Max Fried has kind of had your number, and he'll be starting game 1 for the Yankees.
Sox don't hit Gosman, though, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it was better the other day, though.
Yeah, but
he's had a good September,
historically, they don't.
Sure. I think as long as you get New York or Toronto, they're familiar teams that you know you can beat. Max is in Medford. Max, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that's annoying me, how they're just kind of backing into this, is I feel like this is exactly what ownership and the front office wanted. Make them good enough just to sneak in and, sell their expensive beers. By the way, Fenway was the most expensive ballpark last year with some of the worst paid workers.
It always
not
is.
Good enough
It always
to go
is.
all.
It's always the most expensive ticket.
But not
experience.
right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Of course, but not good enough to make the team actually a legit contender. So yeah, I'm happy that where they are right now, but I'm concerned about where they're going long term. And we all know that Sam Kennedy, they're going to trot out his stupid ass the day after they get knocked out, and they'll do the PR bull crap about how proud they are of this team.
Okay, so Max, sorry, go ahead, Max.
Yeah, can I jump in on this? Because I've heard this all this week, and I've heard this all this year. Are you a fan in the end? Yes or no? Has Red Sox ownership made mistakes in recent years? Yes. Do you have a right to be upset at Red Sox ownership for the way they've handled things? Yes. Guys, they're on the verge of making the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. Can we talk about that in the offseason?
McCarthy, are they over the luxury tax?
They're over the luxury tax. I mean, at this point, and I get it. They've made mistakes, and the Devers thing was a mistake because they wanted the money off the books.
That's the biggest thing to hold on.
I understand it. All right, you have a right to be upset with Red Sox ownership. Can we just enjoy the moment for now, and then when this thing is done, we can talk about what ownership's done right and wrong? I don't give a crap about ownership. They're on the verge of clinching a playoff spot. Talk to me in 2 months about ownership. Don't talk to me in this moment about ownership. All right? Let's focus on the baseball. Finally, we have something we can enjoy. Can you let me enjoy it, for Christ's sake?
So this is how I felt earlier in the week. And listen, the long-term complaints are all valid, every single one of them. I would say we'll have an entire winter to talk about.
Yeah, we know there was a chance if you were willing to eat Rafael Devers' money, you either were going to get Bryce Eldridge, who could have been your first baseman of the future and someone who you could pencil into the middle of your order for the next 5 years, or it could have been Sean Murphy and Marcell Ozuna with the Braves. Those are the conversations you were having. They chose financial flexibility. They told you the dial was turned to the present and not the future. That wasn't true in that case. But at the same time, Craig Breslow he had the ability to make whatever deal he needed to at the deadline. He failed to do so because he's a green CBO.
We'll have final thoughts and take any final calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
You're listening to the Baseball Hour with
tonight. Joe Murray in tonight? Yeah. Okay, Jimmy says yes, gives me a thumbs up. Anthony in car. Anthony, what do you got?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Listen, something I've been thinking about recently is if they'd called Roman Anthony up a little sooner, maybe we would have won more games in April and May, and we would have been in a better position today than we are. I'm just curious your guys' thoughts on that.
Correct. 1,000% correct. If you watched him during spring training, he was ready. It was clear he had the most mature at bats. People were too busy, flipping out because Marcelo Meyer was hitting the ball all over. But Craig Breslow and company were so fixated, so obsessed with Christian Campbell making the opening day roster. That was the only thing they could think of. The truth was, there was a pathway where Rafael Devers was at third base on opening day. Alex Bregman was at second base, which you talked about all offseason. And Yoshida, you sent to Siberia for 4 months. All of a sudden you could have slotted Roman Anthony in there and had your outfield of Wilyer Abreu, Ceddanne Rafaela, and Jarren Duran. That was a pathway right there. But I think partially they looked at Campbell, they wanted that right-handed bat, and they were scared. Could we extend Roman Anthony? Was it possible? Because it wasn't going great when they were talking during camp. Was he going to, show up and essentially finish first or second in Rookie of the Year voting, and we were going to lose a year of team control? I think those were all things that they kind of weighed, and they kind of chose the future over the present in that moment, and they thought they could wait it out. Turns out Roman Anthony was probably already the best player you had in your entire organization.
Yeah, no, of course it was a mistake. And, the thing that has made this Red Sox season so compelling and interesting, guys, is they have made a lot of mistakes. I mean, there have been missteps along the way. I mean, the Devers thing, the Anthony thing,
deadline.
The Campbell thing, the deadline. And yet, in the end, I was thinking as we were coming in here tonight.
So Matt,
I had him at 91.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. They ended up where we pretty much thought.
Agreed.
And look, again, the weekend is still to play, but we're not going to be on again, or I'm not going to be on again until Monday. But how they got there was not what we expected.
No, bumpy.
And it was. And look, they mismanaged the first half of the season. And I say they, meaning ownership in the front office. If they had done what you just said,
it's what a different picture.
If Christian Campbell was never in the picture out of camp, Devers would have been happy. Bregman would have been at second. It would have been absolute. Milliken, I haven't thought it's an entirely different scenario had they gone that route.
Roman Anthony got sick during camp, if you remember. He got whatever Wilyer Abreu was dealing with. That was a stomach bug, and they said he lost like 10 pounds in a week, whatever it was. Sure. I understand that's part of their reasoning for how everything played out. It didn't mean you had to wait till June to call him up at that point in time. He demolished AAA pitching for 2 months.
Yeah, they waited too long. Any final thoughts? 20 seconds or left.
So, again, it's the Devers thing that's going to hang over this team all year long, because you're right. The team would have been a little bit more stable. That being said, one of the reasons they're a better baseball team this year, and one of the reasons Brian Bayo in particular is better, is when you hit the ball to the left side of the infield, they make the play. So, again, the bumpy ride that got us here, and here we are pretty much where we expected them to be. But what a ride it's been.
Even then, though, Christian Campbell, who you played at second base and was a major part of it, he was the worst defensive second
exactly
base
right.
in the sport.
You would have gained a second.
Right? Like, you're feeling it's one or the other. I would have taken surviving with Devers at third base if it kept his bat in the lineup.
That's a good point.
Okay, well, we should have a pretty good idea of later tonight what's going to happen here in the next, 24 hours, obviously. But that Houston game on the West Coast, let's hope, I say this in all sincerity, it's better for everybody if they make the playoffs. Best case scenario for the Red Sox tonight is that they win at Fenway Park and the game on the West Coast doesn't matter. Joe Murray's got you next. McCarthy's got your headlines. Everybody enjoy the weekend. We'll catch you on Monday.
From the Tell Your Time Studios, WBZ FM and HD1.